by the strategist mastermind, mysterious and calculating Amadou Samsung, and thanks to this, while he was at the edge of the bank, Kashin Koji has unlocked one new show, one divine power of whom, for the 10 directions, it allowed him to see several timeline, or rather alternative futures, like one future where Naruto was beaten and killed by Echiki Otsuke. But the worst remains with come because the clown becomes one SNCF reveals the worst future possible, and it is the birth of the Shinju led by their leader, the powerful Turin. And yes, you have currently understood it in this. We are heading towards this worst, darkest, and most tragic possible future. Of all in this one, Boruto will be killed by Tara, but is there one multiverse in Boruto? What are these different timings? How Boruto became the most powerful shinobi of who will be the new enemy of Boruto, and finally you discover the complete story of Boruto and Kawaki until their tragic deaths. Hi everyone. World is about I hope you go all very well. Friends, chapter 13 of Boruto Double Vortex. Amazing, can I not be afraid to say it. This chapter is 1, 9, 10 on monumental description. The best chapter. Of the whole part 2, we had revelations to mad crazy diplotruists and one dramatic purpose, with Boruto being captured by Konoha. Friends, today we will deconstruct this chapter in detail. In short, don't forget to burst some oxygen, and I count on you to go subscribe to my secondary channel. And I wish you all one claim. Boruto learns the truth about hiding one layer. The 3-year-old Ellipse explains to God Otsuki Boruto Shura had one projectile who perforated the torso of Boruto 1 compressed Bijudama, ultra-powerful and is about to swing. One new Bijudama for finish Boruto because he judges it too dangerous to stay alive. In fact, respect Boruto. But since he knows the truth about their secret, Boruto must die, and it is Kawaki who will serve as sacrifice divine, but while is facing the action, the shit plays, Bug appears. Through the code claw marks that are found on the besides, we learn that the official name of the Bug Studio is Mamouche. That was the news. Osef of the day, and don't forget to drop one as like we suspected. Boruto has one, in fact, according to what Mamouche says. Jof Moiki is seen again. And according to his research, Boruto has one, and it is surely this year he informed on the Togets before. And there, of course, we are talking about the Club of Jiraiya. But I quickly stop on one great detail. Important, we are told that my mouse is revised, Ali, so somewhere. It is investigate Boruto. And since he managed to find out that he was fooling around, passes at the end of the chapter, my mouse probably attacked another village, and it is probably the village of Suna, with possibly one fight against the Kazakakai Gaara. But I'll talk about that later. But the Shora is forced to withdraw because we learn that if he has the meat, Zidane manages to rot, and it will lead to his final death. And it is necessary to understand that Boruto and wanted to kill him as soon as possible because of the information he has about the nature of the Shinji. Except that there he learns that Boruto has who is his source of information. So now the target, priority of Zora and Kashin Koji, and he will do everything to find and kill him. You are one lucky man is as if the sky told you to. Live again is this called one message. Divine, these are the last words of you will have, addressed to Boruto. And friends, there can be have one clue hidden and one double interpretation. One could think that there is literally one intervention. Divine that changed the death of Boruto. It may be Shiba and the god, Tsuki, who is omniscient and omnipotent. And once again, I will make one focus on Shibai later. Boruto will pass out. And friends is where we get into the best flashback of everyone, and the most important of all, so be very, very honest. After the omnipotence of Aiden, you all the memories of humanity to exchange Kawaki's place. And Boruto, and after Kawaki's lie on the fact that Boruto killed the Hokage. Boruto had to flee the village Konoha, and he became one deserting ninja at the beginning. Was his one and only happiness, and it was thanks to Saratan that he convinced that Boruto was not the enemy that everyone else. Think they spent more than a year together. Boruto received one hard training, allowed him to master almost all the techniques of his master. They managed together to survive and against all enemy attacks, whether of Konoha or the 5 great nations, but Code found them and confronted them. With his army of mini Jubilee, Sasuke had then sacrificed to allow Boruto to flee. The latter has then found alone in the world and had to survive without the help of nobody. Find it in the chapter we see Boruto in one. He is surrounded by several ninjas from the village of Suna. Therefore in the land of the wind. It is necessary to understand that during his journey, Boruto to get away from the land of fire, where the village of because Konoha he knew that if he went to the village, Ida would have to welcome to Kawaki. His position, he will have all the ninjas of Konoha against him. He will even have to face his former comrades. And this is a situation that Boruto wanted to avoid at all costs. Because he will end up either dead or forced to kill innocent and loved ones. But since he has lost Sasuke, it had become even harder for put to survive. It followed him everywhere, and without interruption, therefore often found themselves in chaos. When he was with Sasuke, he had with him one shinobi outstanding, who walked the whole earth and had one extraordinary intelligence. Compared to Boruto, Sasuke was trained to kill even innocent people. If they ever got in their way, while Boruto at that moment was always time and followed the philosophy of his father Naruto not to involve or kill innocent people. And to tell you, even at the time, Boruto did not want to kill his Sauna ninjas, although he was in one college. But this is where one knew. Yet I finally found you. One toad will start talking and will form Boruto, that it is Yatsuna style. It has either the choice to kill them, which is not one option for Boruto, or second option. Trust the toads that ask him to put your hand on it, no time to decide where you go, it will always be better than here. Boruto agrees to take the risk and finds himself eliminated and teleported to one safe place, one abandoned basis. Orochimaru Boruto finds himself at the corner mysterious in front of one that it does not recognize from the beginning. The latter explains to scientific him that the toad was not a real toad, but rather one person talking through the toad. This mysterious man used Anguenjutsu to camouflage this hiding place and thus prevent Boruto's pursuers from spotting him. After to have put on his broken mask during his fight against Ichi, Boruto recognizes one of the internal members of the Karm organization, Undersea Bang created by the genius Amadou Samsung, but Boruto will not make him directly. Confidence and self-confidence is logical, because from the point of view of Boruto Kashin Koji is still Amadou's ally, and Amadou is currently considered as one colleague from Konoha chases Boruto, so he remains on his guard and is waiting for information from him to find out if he can to trust or not. Yes, it is Forget necessary. That Boruto still saw one Kagi hiding, and the latter has almost burned alive Colin Mars if Boruto had not suddenly noticed his karma, but anyway. Before dwelling one little on Kashin Koji, as planned, it is confirmed Boruto Ashikoji was in Orochimaru's landmark. On the other hand, shows we are told that it is one so abandoned Orochimaru marker, is not necessarily since this is not his current location. But it shows that Kashin Koji is very on Orochimaru, I remind you. When it is the club of Jiraiya and all, like Jiraiya Kashin Koji had said that he had one special with Konoha, it is part of his nature. And his link with Orochimaru is surely special, given the relationship that the legendary friends, and even the first time I have met Team 7 had shown respect to Mitsuki and his decision-making, telling him that he was not the son of Orochimaru. For nothing from your birth to today have you always been. Kashin Koji's question will disturb Boruto, because normally, in everyone's memory, it's Kawaki, who is Uzumaki by birth, and Boruto is a stranger, which was adopted by the Uzumaki family. So he will wonder if Kashin Koji would not be aware of the power of omnipotence. And friends, what to understand is that Kashin Koji is well and truly affected by the power of state. From his point of view, Boruto and the critical respect, who lived in college, several years later, he and Amadou helped him to flee in order to kill JC. On the other hand, Kashin Koji seems to be aware that it is falsified. He does not know omnipotence, but he understands the result it generates. In fact, many do not understand that omnipotence is almost impossible to counter. Because even if you start to have doubts, there will be one superior force that will prevent you from make you continue to believe in your memories from scratch by the power of the time. I remember that Sasuke, after one full year with Boruto, was always struggling to believe that he has the son of Naruto. Just decided to ignore his doubts and had focused on Boruto's survival because he placed his trust in the words of his son to report. But in short, there you must ask the question of how Kashin Koji knew that his memories were altered. From the beginning, I knew it. There was one strong possibility. Let all this happen. Kashin Koji, friends, will throw us one sequence of monumental dinguery, never seen before, but before that, he will apologize for having confronted to Boruto have almost killed his. Sometimes he told her that he had to act in order to accomplish his mission to kill Jigen and then make one Sheik appear, but listen to them. Mature lyrics of Boruto. I am one shinobi, and the annoyance of not being able to justify his position, feeling that I have felt for a long time. We don't realize all it has endured during all these years as the future it is. Past of a loving home, presentation of his family, his friends, and all the people he has to one life or death situation where every day and every night he must fight and cover his back to stay alive the next day until it accomplishes its mission. To save the planet, it has one huge point on his shoulders, but Boruto, the idea of taking responsibility, yes, otherwise the evolution of this character is incredible when you see how it was at all. Beginning of the manga, one teenager lost, he didn't even want to become a ninja and who was experiencing his father, while it was Naruto who had created one magnet environment by one family and one village looking for it. But the development of Boruto deserves one life. Whole video, but here we gets to the heart of the matter. Kashin Koji reminds us that it was created by Amadou in order to win Hichik and prevent the destruction of the earth. Finally, he succeeded with the musical receptacle and bring out Hichik, but sorry for him, Ichikotsuki was too powerful. And so after he lost, he knew that death was waiting for him. You had neither fear nor regret. The Hokage was going to take care of the rest. I was waiting. Calmly, my death friends, it is beautiful everything. As I have nothing against, had made sure to open the Naruto way in order to defeat. And even if they didn't see each other, Kashin Koji knows Naruto and him, completely confident for the future. But friends, we didn't know it at that time, but it was that moment where everything changed. Boruto's multiverse and timelines, explained by the power of Kashin Koji. It is one reality that could happen. They were scenes from the future when he was on the verge of death. Something appeared. Kashin Koji has unlocked one new power. He sees before his eyes moments that will arrive in the future in the form of fine Kashin Koji film. We'll then see Naruto Baryon mode against Hishik of Jubi in one army of mini Jubi by Kono. The arrival of Ada. And Damon has Konoha Boruchiki against Kawashiki, to the death of Boruto in Archon, and many other moments that will take place in the future. Like the death of Ichidi against Kawaki. The Deida omnipotence that will lead to the Boruto pursued by the five great nations is for that even if in his memory Kawaki was always the son of the Hokage, he knew in advance that the position of Boruto was going to be reversed, and he could finally confirm this when he talked with Boruto. Yes, Kajinko, also considering the birth of Shiljo, but talks we have in the last part of the video, I understood that all this would not end with the Mandigic as long as Jubi is not eliminated. This planet will remain in great danger, Kajiko, when he still had things to do. And therefore, he should not have died at that time. And that's why, at the last moment of his life, he took away one toe to escape and thus survive to help Boruto in the future. Friends, let's say the terms, we are in front of one monumental plot twist. This chapter is historical good. Otherwise, there is still one between Jiraiya and Kashin Koji. Because Jiraiya had also received one vision of the except that the information had been transmitted by the Toad Monkey, and just like Kashin Koji, he did everything to accomplish his duty, to prevent a disaster from happening. In short, time there to pass to the power to hide left it calls first, which is Shibai. Otsuki has explained to Mado. Shibai and Hanotsuki that once existed, he devoured one large number of planets, and devouring the life of each planet. It continued to evolve and became more and more powerful, obtaining all the Shijutsu, and ends up being called the God Otsuke, and therefore after one Shibaya evolution series no longer needed a physical body, he left this dimension, but later under unknown circumstances. Amado found his deposit, and by studying his body he could transplanting Shibaya cells in each of the members of the Kara organization. The objective of Amado was to create monsters of power by making one of the many. Shiba's Shijutsu, he wanted his inventions to develop. Powers. Divine, on the other hand, of what the Shinkoshi obtaining a power is a matter of chance. We don't know the advance, what power you will unlock later, and perhaps even that no power will bed. In short, let's make the assessment of the creator code Shijutsu, which allows him to move quickly to one location that was previously marked Aemon. Has the ability to think to send any attack against him, and Hayden is to see all that is passes through any place on the planet, and even go up in time to see events past. She also has the power of hypothence that allows him to realize desires, like the fact that anyone falls in love with her, altering reality, as well as the memory of humanity, to exchange the position of Boro, but the other members of Kara tonight. Boro, Delta, and Kashin Koji. These three did not have Shinjutsu. It was simple android, which was, of course, ultra-powerful and full of scientific ninja tools that can even exceed the cage level. But at the time when he was dying, Kashin Koji has awakened one new power. One new chip's the type for all 10 directions this power. Divine manages to hide one layer all of the future that can happen, friends, is one. Dingery. Before continuing, there are two things. Firstly, it is possible that Delta awakens her. Also, the Shinjutsu in the future, uncommon, and in view of the others, powers. I'm very curious to see what it is, but second, much more important point, Kashin Koji said that all the members of Kara received the Chibe cells. So we don't exclude Kawaki after. It all depends if we consider as one member of Kara, like the other or not. But for me, it is one member of Kara. Since it has also, first Roman numeral, face and friends, if this is the case, it means that Kawaki will also awaken one different power. And Shijutsu from Bei Otsuki, and this will be his last poor... yes. Otherwise, just like Dave and his omnipotence, Kashin Koji does not perfectly master his genjutsu. And besides the power of code, I find so lame about the center. No, but imagine you can have amazing powers as to see in the future. Past realized, all your wishes, and next door you can have poor claw marks. Frankly, I would have ended up depressed. Otherwise, tell me in the comments if for you we'll see one day Shibayutsuki. My answer to me is yes. Obviously, currently, Shibai represents one legend, one kind of myth, narrated by the Usukis exactly, as was Rikudo-Chinin for the Shinobi. In Naruto, on the other hand, I hope this time we will not be disappointed between the silhouette of Rikudo scene did we have there still one huge chasm, especially since we don't realize the monster. That is Abaye in terms of power, he threw me the pure eye. Feared by the Sussex, the Rinnegan, the Byakugan. And the heaviest is that he has all the Shinjutsu. It's a crazy thing, but it's time to enjoy it, friends. Listen carefully, our future is not the only way to trace one battle ago. Between different destinies, Kashin Koji reveals that there are several that could have happened in the future. The one where the Hokage is killed in this alternate future. Naruto is beaten and killed by Ishikutsuki, then managed to put his karma on Kamaki and completes his reincarnation. And finally, the planet Earth was destroyed by the tree of Israel. The latter would have eaten the fruit of the chakra Earth and will therefore have end to all life on the planet. Yes, friends, we are in front of one monumental dingery. But quiet, it is only the start in another alternative future. The day Kawa, who sent Hinata and Naruto in the dimension of Kawa
Ben.
facing Boruto, and this time he was killed by the hands of his own brother, and even Sarada died. Because she had save Boruto, they are both dead, one next to it. They had the most tragic end. But despite that, it will be useless. Because Kawaki will be beaten by Code its limiter, and Kawaki will end up being eaten by the jury, and once again, the planet will end up destroyed. So, friends, I know many people did not understand. Is it a multiverse? As is the case in... Or are there multiple timelines? As is the case in Dragon Ball. Or is it a third voucher? I will try to give you the most logical explanation and consistent with the information we have. There is no timeline that coexists in the same time than the standard in Boruto. It is a single linear timeline that has in several possible futures, but depending on what happens, there will be only one future that will exist is one battle royale between all future but good. To illustrate my words, there is no timeline. Or Boruto died the timeline. B or Boruto is in timeline. C, Naruto is dead, and so on. No, there is only one timeline. So what we are told, these are only realities, alternatives to that could have happened, but were avoided. Basically one kind of what if, and like Kashin Koji says that many stories are complicated. For example, when Naruto has fantastic, had a good chance that he dies against him, except that choice thanks to the characters involved. Naruto survived, and Ishiki died, so the future Naruto would be dead did not take shape. So this future is bright, it did not exist, and will not exist in parallel. So there is no timeline, or Naruto would have died only 1 year ago. Timeline is the one we follow. Where Naruto is alive, in fact, Kashingo JJ with his anticipates possibilities. At every moment, he sees all the possible futures. So if we go back to the example of Naruto, two possibilities. The future has Naruto dies, the future B Naruto remains. If we do the choice, we agree, we reach the future B. And in this case, it is surely Kawaki. Because instead of running away, as Naruto Sasuke Kawaki said, decided to intervene before Kishiki finishes Naruto, and in addition to that, he put one strategic point before the latter puts his karma on him. And so in our history, Kawaki made the right choice that leads to the future Naruto does not die, and so once again, the future Naruto has been avoided. This story has been repeated, and therefore, to end up on this is not one multiverse. It is rather alternative timelines that could have done without possible future, but if they future this product and not one other, he who has not happened does not exist. It is only a possibility that could have come true, I repeat. More information we have for now, there is only one timeline. And friends in general to create multiple timelines. It must be, as in the saga that of Dragon Ball, with one character who travels in time. Exactly as did Trix that went back in time. To warn Goku and his friends of the past, they will be killed in the future by androids, which allowed them to move away and become strong in order to avoid this. But because of this time travel, there was one new timeline that was created in short. I hope I have been clear, friends. Tell me in the comments if you have not understood. I will try to answer to one maximum of people. And at worst, if you want about it, but now it is time to put some respect on Kishimoto-sensei, because there are hidden and foreshadowing which shows us that he had everything planned from the beginning. In episode 209 of the year Makes Kawaki, one dream, in which he sees Ichiki kill Naruto, we can therefore consider that like one forecast, which showed us the alternative future, in which Naruto has lost his life and died in the opening. Once we see a lot run better, and around him there are several moments. It's future past history. And once again, we can consider this as one clue on the existence of several possible futures. After, yes, you go tell me it's light, but friends, there is also in episode 1 Boruto of future that tells us there is no possible alternative, as if Boruto tried to avoid the future that he had been told by Kashin Koji. But he sees himself unable to avoid this future. But I'll talk about that in the next part. But now it changes our entire vision of the world, because we can think that if some choices were different, we would have landed in another totally different future. For example, did not Boruto come with Sasuke to save Naruto Mosquito, we could have had one, in which it is Naruto who received the karma of Mosque. Exactly as Jigen thought, and Cashington that I have in the past, frankly, make one video on all these reasons if you are interested. Listen carefully to what we can conclude, be attentive. It is very important. Do you remember in chapter 79, Momoshiki had said that it did not happen, as in the future that he had seen, it was not supposed to happen. And at the time, I thought that it was weird every time Momoshiki seems to question. While its power is, even Albert Ugan, which is supposed to give the ability to glimpse the future of a person. But friends, in fact, everything is explained. Momoshiki does not have one Shinjutsu as powerful and complete as your Shinkoshi. He has one limited power, which allows him to see that only one possible future, and futures, as is the case with the Thibaut. The divine power to hide one layer, and then everything takes he had seen one future in which Boruto loses hope. And Umuchiki took control of his body in a permanent way, but precisely this destiny has been changed. We landed in another future. And all this is thanks to the Rugetsu Sharingan of Sarada, who has convinced his father Sasuke to help Boruto, who gave him hope. while he had the morale at its lowest. And honestly, there was one aspect I was thinking that Monochiki has one vision of the future, cheating every time. What was this delirium? But in fact, no. Was not deceiving. He just saw one of the possible, but the choices and actions of some characters have changed, and therefore the timeline went into other direction, but that's not all. If we go back to the attitude Boruto in all the Vortex, I told you that he was as if he knew what was going to arrive later, and in the end, this theory has been confirmed, but it is not Boruto who saw the future, but rather Hyde one. And that, frankly, it is one surprise. Yes, otherwise it is necessary. Observes all the facts and gestures of Boruto. So he too is aware of the power of... But I reserve you one special video subject on the good. Last conclusion to make. Beautiful when Chapter 77 took away the good or the good of Mudge, he could glimpse future, and he saw Kawaki with blood. And in fact, this sound belonged to Boruto and normally you see where I want to come from Boruto. As Muchiki saw only one of the possible futures. And surely the future he saw is the one where Boruto and Sarada are awarded by Kawaki. But friends, this power allows us to know how ready Kawaki is to go far. Reach his goal. I tell you, this character is very, very dangerous. Look at that. It is really sad and tragic. See him, Boruto Sarada, died next to each other at only 200. The cruelty of Kamaki is without limit, and I think there are still some surprises in store. We have before us one character who is capable of committing one fratricide, and even follows one innocent girl when Sarada. But Kawaki did not hesitate. He killed them both, though. For those who ask the Kawa question, which is always part of my Boruto's favorite character, his relationship with Naruto, incredible, and I understand its method to protect it, but indirectly, as I said several times, Kawa, which becomes more and more extreme. It is without limit. So now Boruto has understood that he must be even more careful, because concretely he could have died from the hands of his brother, and even Sarada the poor would have finished. Like one damage on the side, and Boruto still wants to no longer protect Sarada. And will as do tragic as it happened, the proof the first time that Boruto discusses with Sarada in Double Vortex tells him to stay. Our protagonist is that now no one is safe, and that you have to be very careful with each action. And we understand also why Kashin Koji said in Chapter 4 that if Boruto died, the planet would be destroyed because surely it's Boruto. Kashin Koji has surely seen that future lead to one only purpose, which is the end of all life on the planet, since nobody but Boruto. It is better to stop Code and Chips. But it's time to talk about the dark destiny of the two Uzumaki brothers, the death of Boruto, and Kawaki in the worst future possible. I can transmit to you the techniques that you will acquire in the future. Kashin Koji has seen all the possible futures, so he knows in advance what are the techniques and power that Boruto will be unlocked in each future, and therefore he will be able to teach her in advance all the jutsu he would have learned in every possible timeline. Friends, it's a crazy thing to celebrate much of the battle spades. After his first year of training with Sasuke, who transmitted to him almost all his against his Kyotsu, and after that, this level of power stagnated. And there, thanks to Christine Ko, continue to improve and develop new Jutsu Sami. Opens up many possibilities. We can say that we will have the Boruto Prime, the maximum power it can achieve with the combination of all the undersides of all the future and its new sense. It's not just anyone. Speaks well of Kashin Koji, the CNS clone who managed to kill Jikan and made one honorable fight against the overpowering Ichichi Otsuke. It has less shots Victor Hao and Kun Mom, showing that it is clearly from the help of the most members of the Karo organization and one of the most Amadu's powerful powers. And so once again, everything it is 100% logical and consistent that Boruto is as powerful as Blue Vortex. Because if, for example, Kashin Koji had not seen future, he would not have learned Reiki. And if that were the case, Boruto might have lost against his limiter or against Kawaki or Jinju leading to his death. Yes, by the way, we understand on the official website of Naruto, we are told that the management has been designed with the help of Kashin Koji. In fact, it is simply that Kashin Koji saw the future and allowed Boruto to learn this. Doubt I will tell you the way to save Sasuke Uchiwa. We still don't have tie-in of how to listen to Sasuke. It will surely be shown later, but for the moment, that to save Sasuke, it is necessary to have the workshop of a Soul and its alter ego. And in the last chapter, we wonder, and how Kashin Koji got information on Tuffadamas. I had exposed that he must have seen one Tugadama so with his own eyes. So perhaps he had confronted and lived in Shinju, but finally, the explanation is even simpler. It is that, in fact, with the Kashin Koji, he could see one future in which Aishiju will be beaten, and therefore it has generated of Almond, and he even had to see in which Sasuke or one other trapped character. Since he told Boruto that he knows how to save Sasuke, but that's where it will become interesting. Ashi reveals the worst defenses in it. The timeline will take the darkest direction possible. Kyuubi will escape code control and will evolve into several humanoid Shaijo. Each has its own will. The most dangerous is their leader, Roruto, will be killed by him, and like most other future ones, always ends the same way, Kawa, who ends up being devoured and the planet is destroyed. Friends, once again, everything makes sense, Boruto. did everything to prevent perfection to arrive him and Kashin Koji. Wanted to eliminate Jubi as soon as possible. German in the code dimension. He wanted to avoid the birth of Shincho, but unfortunately they failed. And this has begun to take shape in the present, and this future may end with the death of Boruto killed by Jura, and it will end again with the destruction of the planet. But you have to understand something very what Kashin Koji wants explained to Boruto is that every time it ends badly, diabetes is similar. It's like in the anime Shider's game. There is one character who is killed, and what does it matter? She always ends up revealing the purpose. Remains the same. And the Tesla of Boruto is the same in most of the possible future. It starts with the death of Boruto, and it ends with Kawaki, who is devoured by Johnny, which leads to the end of all life on Earth. Ah, yes, by the way, in brackets. Each time, the only living humans are Naruto and Nathan, who are both in the dimension of Dinklage. And as a result, they survived. Even though they are exactly wasted one Koji for Boruto. Reflect on the solution of the problem, and if we logically arise to save Earth, just kill Kawaki. And so we avoid all the future in which he ends up being devoured. But Boruto refuses to kill his brother either to prevent the floor from playing. Otherwise, I can't accept the option of killing Kawaki, because my goal is to force this brother to open his eyes and bring back the family. Uzumaki then Boruto puts on his head, promises to get rid of all the threats. Whether it is one audio code, friends are protagonists. Gained in maturity, he became extraordinary, and in addition to that, with Naruto, who had revealed his determination and goal to, but it is done in the village. Precisely in Jiraiya, the origin of Kashin and Boruto reveals to Kashin Koji, the clown of Jiraiya, its goal of bringing back. Kawaki is right. Frankly, I find that Boruto is the fusion between Naruto and Sasuke, between two of the best character of shonen. He took the qualities of each, and in addition to that, he has personality and goals. And the character Kashin Koji is also incredible. It is one of the best of all. Whether Boruto. It is without flow, without super interesting dialogue or explanation. And on top of that, the bottom of is very relevant. With parallel between Nigeria, which represents the star of hope and which continues to search and ends up becoming the sensei of Boruto. The son of Naruto, who had, like Sensei Jiraiya, the origin of Kashinko especially. That the latter is aware that he has no level to stop the threat. So he decided to put his knowledge and know-how in the service of Boruto in order to create the most complete and powerful shinobi of all. And together they will everything to recreate peace in the world. Eliminate all threats. But friends, there is one thing that tells me that Kashin Koji is not 100% authentic. It still hides. Because look at Kashin Koji's reaction. When Boruto expresses his desire not to kill Kawaki, he is both worried and not reassured by Boruto's as if he knew that the objective Boruto was not feasible. Among all the futures he may have seen, none where the planet is saved and that the Uzumaki family is reformed. I think he saw that there are sacrifices that will have to be made. Boruto's words from the future is therefore only possible way out Boruto will go. Account that he will be forced to kill Kawaki and hide the Koji. Surely, since to avoid this worst future commemorates the destruction of Boruto will have to get dirty and will have to take the life of your brother. So the fateful fight between Boruto will end with one extremely hard decision be chosen to save Kawaki by putting it in the right way. But in this case, it takes risk that the planet will do the same, or you kill Kawaki in order to save the planet. But if you do, you won't be able to realize your dream reunite the Uzumaki family. Again, the is extremely difficult. It is similar to the that Naruto Sasuke had and opposite Boruto. Remember in part 1, my guy Boruto was becoming great danger. It was necessary to choose whether to kill him. Sasuke had made his decision and told Naruto that Boruto he would kill with his own hands as a master if necessary, and Naruto could not bring himself to kill his son and decided to take the risk of leaving Boruto. But it led to its loss because Buchiga resurfaced and almost killed him. Kawaki had to make one choice in his place and decided your hands dirty to kill Boruto. Hinata therefore finished them, and omnipotence of Aida occurred with the current situation. Boruto tells. In any case, friends, I find it very, very interesting. It's crazy that after having produced one masterpiece like Naruto, Kishimoto has succeeded now with Boruto from the Blue Vortex. One huge respect for this manga K, on the other hand. It is quite possible that this time the end of the manga is tragic. Imagine one little the parallel. Naruto wanted everything to put Sasuke back straight, and in the end, he managed to save it the way, despite all his goodwill, will fail. And will have no choice but to kill Kawaki for the good of humanity. But in short, let's come back to Cash. I am convinced that he is hiding other information from us. Because it talked about the worst future. Future that should be avoided against it does not speak to us about the future where the planet is saved. No information about it, and it is surely because it hides us and hides us on the bank. Falls one part of the truth. Friends, don't forget, yes, Kashin Koji is one. But its one and only objective is to save the Earth, and we know Kashin Koji will not hesitate to sacrifice people to achieve this goal in order to beat his ship. He did not hesitate way to kill Hao and burn alive. So it is quite possible that Kashin Koji saw that in this luxury future where the planet survives, there will be sacrifices. Which must be facts, but if Boruto learns the truth, he will tells, for example, if there is one of these loved ones who in this future good for the planet. But one negative future for, my God, who will lose loved ones. Like Kawaki, who will have to be killed by the hands of Boruto and Kashin Koji. I think he will direct Boruto and guide him to that moment, and then he will have to decide to kill Kawaki. But friends, I tell you plotters, and the crazy revelations we have, you is nothing compared to what we will have afterwards. Because the mastermind, the one who leads this chess game, is Amadou. Samsung is the one behind the discovery of Shiba. The creation of Android with divine powers. He could create one powerful who sees in the future he has one madman's plan to kill where one other penny, which is very careful and very without powerful. Forgetting that he tampered with the Kawaki in order to resurrect his daughter in Quebec, of which Delta is only a copy. Failed. But friends, the worst is that this guy, he always gives us parts, but never tell us the whole truth. It's one mix between truth, nation, and lie a few days. After the loss of his son, Boruto Naruto was always affected by the event. It is dramatic event. Who saw it before his eyes, and Amadou took advantage. He made sure to play on the emotional by talking about his daughter. While we wanted information about the duo of Soki, and the latter hid one part of the truth and directed all this towards one goal: bring back his daughter to life, and we know that all this is not part of his plan. And friends, even Shikamaru, one of the smartest people of the 5 great nations, said that everything seems to be planned for Amadou, as if he were the master of the stream, manipulating each event in history as it pleases. You didn't plan to hear such words from your leaves because my opinion remains exchanged. I wonder if it's all part of a plan, as if everything was going according to one scenario that you have developed. Friends, if you want one special video about Amadou, tell me in the comments. There it is. Time to return to the present Boruto, imprisoned in Konoha. And the new enemy is revealed. Boruto does not move. Not Summered will be alongside Boruto, which will be evaluated because of the damage he received from the Mary Emma. She will finally wake up and go directly treat Saraba's arm. Thanks to the chakra of common, it will surprise. She heals her friend and confronts the overpowering the leader of the Simpsons all alone and allows the intimate 10 to escape. She saved Boruto some time to be able to intervene and save her and Sarada, and now as soon as she wakes up, she treats Sarada, who was injured. Friends, his recent performance, and XXL in view of the context. And frankly, it's nice to see that Kishimoto respects his film characters, Lina and Boruto, because I find that they have enormous potential, and so I hope it will continue in this direction. Himawari, take care of Boruto. Summerev will ask him to treat Boruto. Also, Himawari will be surprised brother came back to the village. Don't forget your Boruto and Kawaki foreign point of view, who joined the Uzumaki family even if these two have managed fraternal bonds through the time. Don't get close to him, Kawaki. We'll ask him not to treat Boruto right away, because there is one thing to do before Maru will put handcuffs on Boruto. It's the one's design. Boruto will therefore be unable to use players. In fact, it is the equivalent of granite. Welcome to one, which prevents users from search in Boruto's clothes and bring the toad, with whom it communicates, and by the same token, it will understand that Kashin Koji, and that it is him. The ally to hide his information from others. On the other hand, then Boruto, friends, is really in a difficult situation. It will end up a prisoner in Konoha, like his master Sasuke, but I will tackle continuation of what will happen to Boruto in the next one. We have to talk about Many people hate it even more after this chapter, and I can understand his behavior and detestable at this time. And friends, let's put ourselves from Kawaki's point of view. Like world that Kashin Koji is crazy, master of and Boruto, therefore for him the only who has made sure to improve his mastery karma and protect him and Harry. And Konoha for Naruto, and then Boruto appears against Code. Kawa, who manages to eliminate Minijubis and accept his but when he goes to meet Boruto, he sees him talking with as if he was hiding something that putting them at risk. And later, when he returned to Konoha, he even assumed that Boruto was the captain, because in front of him he no longer sees brother of old, but he sees the monster that has him. Kawaki sees Boruchiki, the demonic being behind this, he who wishes to put an end to all life on Earth, the one who almost killed Naruto before his eyes. And even in the 109 just chapter, before the activation of Kawaki had to bring himself to kill Boruto. But it hurt him because it is his brother. But when he think of Boruto, he can no longer dissociate Mochiki of the latter. That's why Kawaki manages to be his because for him, now Boruto is not simply its brother of the past, rather one-time bomb that will trigger the rebirth of logic, and then after omnipotence. And during Boruto Double's worth, we saw Kawaki to protect what is dear to him. He was upset to go straight for it when he saw the opportunity to eliminate he killed instantly, and that's only after he questions Boruto on the information he publishes on. And the proof in this chapter, he could have finished Boruto off, but he decided to rate it in order to have answers to these questions, to understand from where it comes from, and he even said that he was not against it. Then Boruto, and finally, as I told you, he discovers the truth Kashin Koji, actually Kawaki, in Double Vortex is always looking for it, discovers small new information that were already known from our point of view. But friends, you will see that there will be one very interesting in the next chapters. You are aware that you are hydrated, your identity is doing well. In the dimension of the Shinju, it manages to be reborn from a Togodama, and thanks to the roots of the tree that will feed it and the reconstitute. And honestly, I say, why not? Because it still leaves us the possibility to have one rematch from Sarata against the Shinju of his, and maybe this time we'll see finally the capabilities of its young'un manga. Find one name we don't know about. Which it is. No, it is that my mouse investigated and discovered Boruto, that he has and won. So logically she has directed to the land of the wind where the village of Suna is so my located. Mouse may have confronted Gaara, for example. But friends, I hid the last vision of Bershiku. Indeed, with his power, he could see in advance the birth of the Shinju. But in his vision, among all Shinju, there is one new Shinjiho, mysterious, whose identity is unknown but given its appearance. It is obvious that it is Shinki, the son of Gaara. For me, it does not. No doubt when you see the marks of his face and around his eyes, they are identical to, well, you have to know that. Quite developed in the manga, but for the fans of the land, like me, those who have seen the year, you know that Shinki is one of the most important characters of the new generation. We saw his childhood filled with happiness. He was alone all the time because of his power. That destroyed everything on its passage involuntarily. The world feared him and did not dare to approach him. Exactly like Gaara when he was little, but Gaara, because he was rejected by his father, the Kashin Koji. At the time, he had not helped her in her schooling. And worse, he sent the person who was the most expensive to murder him. Gaara did not make the same mistake and stretched the machine, who became his and adopted son. During the exam, he defeated Chuchu, Mitsuki, and Saratan. Almost Boruto if he had not cheated in the following arcs. Against. I said we saw Sally with Boruto and his mouth and him understand how Naruto influenced. His father Kargora said that good of Naruto who had him saved by the past and has opened our eyes, and through moments together, Shinki will respect Boruto. Is considered one rival and one creator of, if he has the Keiji Gunkai of third Kazekakai, who became Sasuke's overpowering. And during the first arc of Karachik Face Deep, he saw the power chasm that he had between him and the members of Kara. Understood he had to continue his training and continue to rise to prominence. We'll see him again later. After the death of whose home during the second schooling when he typed Kawaiki in 1v1. Because the latter did not respect the fights of Shinobi, who gave their all after months or even. In fact, Naruto is beyond Kawaki and came to his aid. And it's complicated between Gaara and except that the latter had one obsessive love and abused. As it is the case for Kawaki, friends, this character is very interesting that it is his backstory, his personality, his power, and even his relationship with Gaara. But I think that unfortunately he faces the Shinju and got devoured driving at birth of the new Shinju. And it could be very relevant. If we have a fight between Shiniki and Gaara, to highlight the other villages that totally put aside since several years, and maybe we will have the Yurai game between Mitsuki and Shiniki. This time, it will not destroy and show the maximum power of his mid. But in any case, the presence of Shiniki shows that the Chinese problem involved the other villages, and finally they will also be involved in the problems of their planets. Because every time it's Konoha who has to clarify compared to all other slam nations. But here, friends, it's okay for sure, and some other villages will have one importance in the arcs to come. Here you go, friends. I hope you enjoyed this mega review. It is about the longest video of the whole channel if you want. Please, I make formats one little longer and sometimes make reviews. As long as this one in short, friends, don't forget to subscribe to activate the bell. Go ahead and support me in my secondary video about the party of a thing, so I count on your